Welcome back, everybody. It is I, Sean, the American in Krakow, still sitting in his studio. I just want to do a quick follow-up on my last video where I was talking about a little bit of my writing history and the gear that I wear, or kind of how I started wearing full-face helmets and why I wear a full-face helmet at all times. I did talk a little bit about the rest of my gear, or my opinion on wearing gear, and I never really got to that part of that in that video because that video started getting a bit long. So I just kind of ended it where I did, and I just wanted to do a second follow-up video to, talk about the rest of the gear that I do wear and what kind of brought the change, or what brought around the shift in my thinking that let me get to the point where I am now wearing pretty decent motorcycle gear. 100% of the time, when the weather is less than hot and I am still semi-squiddish during the summer months. So let me break that down a little bit. So what I mean is, I'll start in the summer months. I still wear shorts, and I still wear short sleeve shirts in the summer. However, I do augment that with, I wear motocross style knee and shin guards over my knee and shins, and I wear like motocross or dirt bike under jersey armor. So I have chest, back, shoulders, elbow, and forearm protector, and it's in kind of like a mesh, very lightweight mesh zip-up jersey, usually worn underneath the motocross jerseys that you see those guys wear. And then I'll just put my shorts, something like this or something like that, a t-shirt over that. So I do got pads on, and kind of the major areas are covered with some form of hard protector in that case. But if I was to take a slide or take a spill, I would still end up with probably some serious road rash. I don't always do it. I mean, if the weather is relatively tolerable, I will wear, I do wear Trilobite is the brand of jeans that I wear. They're a 2-layer jean system. So a very heavy denim on the outside, and then in certain areas or specific areas on the inside, it's reinforced with like Kevlar liners. So it can be quite uncomfortable in the warmer months. And as long as it's not like 100 degrees outside, I wear a Climb mesh jacket, so the induction jacket, which is, it's practically bulletproof. It's like chainmail that moves very easily and doesn't make any noise. So even if I was to take a spill in that, like that, I'm full on confident, unless I was, doing deep into the triple digit speeds. If I took a spill in that jacket or in those jeans, I would be pretty well protected from at least abrasion. And I do have, the jacket has shoulder, elbow, and back protector, and the jeans have hip and knee protection in them. So not too bad. I also wear riding specific motorcycle shoes now, or motorcycle sneakers, I will say. So I do have a pair of sport boots, short, three-quarter sport boots, but I don't often wear them. I predominantly wear these motorcycle sneakers. And of course, I got gloves and helmet at all times, as I mentioned in my previous video. So how did I get from being super squid, or no, I said not super squid because I wouldn't wear flip-flops when I rode. But how did I get from being squid to wearing a lot of protective gear, a good amount of protective gear? And anybody who would have been paying attention in the previous video probably would have just assumed that it's because of my last accident, the one where I said I had a good spill. I wrecked my bike and ended up with knee surgery, and I'm still limping. I'm still not fully recovered from that today. And it's not 100% true. That would not be a correct statement, to be fair. I did start wearing gear because of the accident, but not exactly. So my good buddy Adam He's a good friend of mine. He's a buddy. He's also the mechanic on my bikes. He did the custom work on my bobber. Um, and the bike is there. It's at his shop now since the accident. And he was very clear with me. He said, if you don't start wearing gear, I'm not going to fix your bike. And that was enough motivation for me to begrudgingly purchase and start to wear some gear. So that's how I got into the motocross knee and shin guard and the motocross upper protectors, and then wearing it under my normal gear or shorts, or my normal jeans and t-shirts or shorts. So it was kind of a compromise situation. But at the same time, I also bought my first pair of motorcycle sneakers. I believe I bought my first pair of motorcycle sneakers around that time. Or if I had a pair, I wasn't wearing them actively. I wasn't wearing them during the accident. I'm pretty sure I was wearing just Chuck Taylors. I was. Actually my favorite pair, and now they're gone. But after that incident, after the accident and after the initial recovery, so I was able to start walking again. I was out of the wheelchair and I was wearing an orthopedic brace on my leg because the PCL was there and I needed the extra support. I did get back on the bike. I'm silly that way. And I was riding around and one day, not too long after actually, I got into another accident. This time I was just actually on my way to Adams. I believe I was on my way to Adams. I was on the road to his place. And heavy traffic. And so I was on Tinecka, for anybody in Poland or anybody in Krakow who's watching this. I was on Tinecka heading towards the A4, so towards my buddy. And heavy traffic. And here, filtering and lane splitting, especially during traffic, is allowed for motorcycles. And I was splitting. It's a 2-lane, one in each direction, and I was going down the middle, not overly quick. I was really not going that quick. And all of a sudden, there was a van just up ahead of me, stopped in the traffic, and he stuck his arm out, and he started waving at me, just waving his arm. And it didn't register with me at the exact moment. I did see it, and I started slowing down, but I didn't come to a complete stop. And that's where things got interesting. So there was a gap in front of him, and there was a driveway to a business. And unfortunately, that same driver in the van had checked his mirror a moment before, not seen me, and then waved another car through. So a car in the parking lot of that business was trying to get out and make a left. So he was going to come out in front of me and then cut that way. It was just bad timing. So the guy didn't see me in his mirror. He waved the guy through. The guy, on the other hand, when he came out, didn't creep into the traffic and then check himself. He just pulled out. So by the time the van driver waved me down and I slowed down, which I did, the other car had already pulled out and there was no avoiding this collision. So the only thing I could do is try to lessen it a bit. So I veered to the right to try and get to the back of the car. And hopefully if he had enough momentum, he would have kept on going and things may have worked out differently. Unfortunately, he came to a stop. I ended up hitting him sideways. I sideswiped him with the left side of my bike. And at the time, didn't really think much about it. It was just all too quick. But I tried to, counter steer the bike to stay upright, because as soon as I hit him, the reaction is to bounce back to the right. So I tried to counter steer up, and then as soon as I cleared the back of his vehicle, my counter steer was too excessive, and I ended up going down on my left side, same side as my bad knee. I went down. I was wearing gear, jeans, not shorts or anything like that. So I was wearing gear with level 1 armor in the knee, and I was okay. But my foot hurt, and I looked down, and my shoe was off. My left shoe was off. And I was just kind of confused and perplexed for a second. And I kind of looked around and I found it, and I was limping about. And as it turns out, as I sideswiped the car, the foot peg on my bike, so my left peg, actually hit and cut a channel through the skin, the door skin of the driver's door. It dented the pillar between the driver and the back door, and then cut the skin of the door behind the driver's door, and the sheet metal peeled out. And as it peeled, sheet metal is sharp, and it actually cut through the side of my shoe. It actually cut the laces off my shoe, so that's what cut the laces, and the shoe became loose and came off. But it actually cut the side of my shoe as well. And I did look, and I did have a very, very, very small cut on my foot. Bled a little bit, but like it just on its own stopped. Didn't need to put any bandages or anything on it. So a very small, minor cut, scratch on my foot. And that's when I went back and looked at the car, and then I looked at the shoe and realized if I was wearing any other sneaker that day, my Chuck Taylors, any pair of my Nikes, anything except for those specifically designed motorcycle sneakers, which have thick, chunky leather panels. Like they look like normal skate shoes, but they're designed specifically to be a little bit more rugged. So they had thick and layered pieces of leather around the foot. And honestly, that's the only thing that prevented that sheet metal from slicing the entire length of my foot, probably flay it open. And at that moment, it's when my brain kind of clicked and said, that thing just saved my foot and saved me a very serious trip to the hospital. And it was at that moment that I realized I'm no longer going to begrudgingly wear my gear. I'm actually going to invest in and purchase the most comfortable quality gear I can afford, because that's kind of the side effect of motorcycle gear as well, is sometimes it's uncomfortable. They don't vent well, or they're too heavy, or they're too thick, and it's just they're awkward or bulky. So the industry has recognized that, and they're designing better and better and better gear every year. Even now, they're doing single layer fabrics, so no double layer fabrics anymore. So much more comfortable, much more breathable. That is as strong or as durable as leather in a slide. So I kind of made that decision that I'm going to try and find the most comfortable gear I can wear, so I don't have an excuse as to why I won't wear it. And because of that, I will then just wear my gear all the time. Again, when it's super hot outside, and I know I'm not going to be hitting a highway for long distances, so I'm going to be doing city speeds, relatively slow city speeds for me, I will probably still wear the motocross gear with shorts and a t-shirt or something like that. But my mesh jacket breathes really well, so it might just be the shorts. But other than that, once the weather is slightly cooler, or I know I'm doing longer trips or longer road trips, I will always wear the most appropriate gear I can for that trip. But that's really what it took. I mean, none of the talkings to, I mean, as much as, I love my buddy Adam, and I know he meant really well when he was saying he won't fix my bike if I don't wear gear. I don't necessarily believe he wouldn't have fixed my bike, but at the same time, he was using what he could as leverage to try and convince me to wear gear and protect myself and take care of myself. Because he was probably tired of doing it for me, because he was the only one, him and his mom, they were the ones that were taking care of me after my accident, like at my house every day, helping me get out of my bed, and just all the things I couldn't do for myself because I couldn't walk for a couple of weeks. So, he did what he thought was right, and in the end, it got me in the right path. And then this incident just pushed me right over the edge, and that's what it took for me personally to get that mentality flip of I'm going to wear shorts and a t-shirt and just be comfortable, versus I can be protected and still be comfortable at the same time. I just needed to do my homework and find the right gear. But, that's it for now. I don't want to make this too much longer. You know, this was just to be a quick follow up from the previous video, so we're probably coming around the same time, or maybe a little bit longer at this point. Again, I just want to say thank you for staying to this point. If you have, thank you if you've subscribed. If you haven't, please do subscribe and hit the like button if you've liked this video. Also, please feel free to leave any comments. I will always try to respond to all comments. Not that I get a ton now, but I do try to respond to all comments, and I appreciate all feedback because I'm learning this as I go. So anything that you can tell me that will help make this channel better or make my videos better, I will try to take that on and do my best to improve. Anyway, also, my Instagram, you'll see it on the outro. Peace.